Good morning, everyone. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous about this video. The reason why is because the audio program that I've used for years with recording audio, I just now got into like the interfaces and microphones and things like that here recently. That was a nice light switch outside. But anyways, so even before then, there was times where I would record from my Windows laptop, and I would use an audio recording program to record through the microphone of the laptop. And I've always used NCH WavePad Editor, but today I started messing around with different softwares to where I could hear the audio playback as it's being recorded through my MacBook with headphones. And I was having so many issues with it, so I figured out how to do that inside of GarageBand. So I'm actually recording with GarageBand. So I'm so nervous about this. Also, with my camera and everything else, like right now, I shoot most of my pictures in manual mode, and I try to record in manual mode, and that light switch at the very beginning, it's starting to get kind of cloudy outside. So yeah. Anyways, so the reason why you clicked on this video today is because in this episode of Morning Coffee, I'm going to be talking about the Blu pod system. If you haven't heard about them, I highly recommend finishing at least a little bit of this video. That way you can kind of get my big message on these things. So I was hanging out with a friend, and we went to a gas station, and he had told me about these because my girlfriend actually she still wants to vape. So yeah, I quit 9 months ago. I haven't messed with it since, and she's been wanting to vape. So I seen these things, and he got one, and I bought one for her. And they're a pod system that Blu makes. If you're not familiar with Blu makes other disposable e-cigs and things. And actually, they're owned by Imperial Brands, which also owns other tobacco companies. So I don't really want to support them because I see them as a big tobacco company. And I don't really like supporting that. But I'm trying to keep an open mind when talking about these products, even though I don't like big tobacco companies. I'm trying to keep it fair. But anyways, so I get her one. She uses the entire cartridge in time. So we went back to the gas station, and they just set out like a new thing. These things are only $1. They come with the stick. I don't have one near me. They come with a stick, they come with a pod, and they come with a USB charger. So for $1, why not try it? It's a trial thing that they're doing with them to help promote them and whatever else. So she uses her cartridge. I had a friend that gave me a bottle of 0 milligram e-juice. I opened the pod, I cleaned it out, changed the cotton, cleaned the coil, which honestly, I didn't really get to use pod systems back in the day before I quit vaping because they like really, really got popular after I quit. So I can't really compare that to something else, but doing that was so easy to do with that pod. So I filled it full of zero, and I've been using it with 0 milligram nicotine just to kind of like assist with anxiety. Not really assist, because it really doesn't do anything. It's just being able to have that, and I'm not getting the nicotine. I'm not feeling dependent on it or anything like that. So it's been a really nice accommodation. And anyways, so I have been using this thing for like maybe 2-3 days with 0 milligram nicotine. But anyways, so my buddy, we get back in the car. It's late at night. It's already dark. And he's opening his, and he puts his pod in, and this is the Blu pod system. So anyways, I'm gonna see if I can't get that to focus a little bit. There you go. That's the pod system. Your pod is right here, and it clicks into place. You have your USB charger on the bottom. It's really simple. It's activates by inhale. So anyways, we get back in the car. He gets his pod put in. It's really dark, and he's like looking around at stuff, and he gets confused on what's the top, what's the bottom. So he just hits it accidentally by the bottom. And his e-cig, his stick, whatever, started firing automatically, and it wouldn't stop. And I yanked it out of his hands, and I pulled the pod out. That way it would kill a connection. It wouldn't be constantly firing. Had no idea what just happened. So later on, we got back to his house, where we had light, and he put the pod back in. Everything worked perfectly fine. There was no issues with it after that. So anyways, my girlfriend used hers. She liked it. Turned around, went back to the same gas station. They had just put out like a fresh thing. They're like these boxes that have 5 in them. You can take one and buy it, whatever. She bought the whole thing. So she bought an additional 5 pod systems, including the original one. So we had 6 altogether. So once she got this pod empty, took it apart, cleaned it out, put fresh cotton in it, put 0 milligram juice. I let her hit it for a little bit just because I've been so nervous about that. I do not want to go back to having a nicotine addiction or anything like that. So she hit it for a while, and it was like pretty much nothing, just breathing air. So that's whenever I took over, I started using it. So she had these 5 other pod systems to use, and I cannot speak because you can get these not as a trial version, as an actual version. I don't know if it's like trial packaging or trial promotion or trial what. It just says trial, $1. So I'm assuming that the actual ones that are not $1 are going to have the same effect, which is wonky. There's not a set effect, and that's what I'm fixing to get into. So she noticed on one of hers, she covered the bottom where your charging port is at. Shut your face. I'm going to silence my phone. I'm sorry. She covered the bottom where the charging port was at, and it would fire. She'd take her finger off, and it'd stop. Cover it, it'd fire. That is a really big safety concern, because that right there kind of goes in play with what happened to my buddies. And that's a big safety issue, to me at least. It's very concerning having a pod system that will misfire. Now, it does say that it has a 10-second safety shutoff feature that's included in this. I haven't tested it. I don't know how well that works, but still, a misfire at all is not a good thing. That's not something you want with an e-cig. That's one thing I was really big on whenever I was vaping, was battery safety, ohm safety, everything. Like I wanted it to be safe, not for just my safety, not just for other people around me, but because I did not want to be the next guy video shown about on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever social media platform. Hey, look at this idiot. He wasn't safe with his devices. And then you have all these people that are against vaping. They're like, oh, see, this is why it's not safer. I don't want to be the fuel in that fire. So I was always real big on safety with my e-cigs from start to finish, everything. So having a pod system like this that will misfire, possibly. I can't say that this one won't do it, but I have one somewhere that will. My buddy's, his will. So that's very, very concerning. But anyways, so the juice that I have in this is actually a 70-30, and it wicks very well. I can sit here and hit this like back to back a few times, and I won't experience a dry hit. Now, my girlfriend did tell me when she first started using the pod that came in this with the juice that was in this, it was a very harsh taste, which you kind of expect, because pod systems are targeted towards people that want to quit smoking but don't want to carry around a big bulky ass e-cig or anything like that. They don't want to deal with refilling it themselves. It's convenient to just have a pod to slap in there, because you're transitioning from smoking cigarettes. All you got to do is pull it out of the pack and light it, and that's it. You're ready to go. So all you have to do is pull this out of your pocket. You don't even have to light anything. You don't have to press a button. You just inhale. So this is targeted towards people that want to quit smoking. And it's just, there's so many things that I have found wrong with these. I think that altogether I have 3 pods that all have 0 in them right now. So yeah, I just kind of like go back and forth between them. And then if one needs to be cleaned, I'll clean it. And then if it needs to be filled, I'll fill it. But anyways, the harsh taste that she was getting, they're trying to target people, and this is where I want to bring in the FDA flavor ban. Like, I'm trying to hit every aspect of this that I can. So the flavor that comes in these trial ones, the only ones I've seen is golden leaf tobacco. So along the lines with the FDA flavor ban, you're going to be limited in what flavors you're going to be able to get. You're not going to be able to go to an e-cig shop or an online site and order strawberry milkshake, strawberry milk, lemon meringue pie. You're not going to be able to order flavors like this. You're going to be limited to tobacco, mint, and whatever else they allow. I don't really know, but I will have a link down in the description to where you can go do your part and express your feelings, your concern, your experience with flavored e-juice versus not flavored. So I highly recommend doing that. But these are targeted for people to quit smoking. I'm going to repeat myself a lot. And man, the way she described it, with how harsh it was, it would be very off-putting to someone who's, even though cigarettes are harsh themselves, and the flavor that you don't really get a flavor. It tastes like smoke, it tastes like shit. But the way she described it, it would be very off-putting to someone who's trying to transition to e-cigs. So yeah, it's that kind of plays into the FDA flavor ban. That's the flavors you're going to be able to get. And if you're trying to get people to quit smoking and go to e-cigs and start vaping, if you give them something that's very off-putting, they're not going to want to do it. They're going to want to stick to what they know. That's why flavors are so important, and they play a really huge role in helping people quit smoking or spitless tobacco or whatever, and it keeps them wanting to vape and be healthier and feel better and be able to do more. Because it goes from the nicotine, from feeling like you're needing the nicotine to, damn, this tastes good. You don't become dependent on the flavors. That's not what I'm saying at all in any fucking way. I want to let that be known right now. But I'm saying that the flavors play a huge role in vaping. So if someone who had never vaped before, you was like, hey, try this. And you just want them to try your e-cig, and they're like, oh, well, what flavor is it? Oh, it's strawberry milkshake. And they're like, oh, man, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah, I'll try that. Okay, same situation. This person smokes. I vape. And I'm like, hey, try this. Just take a hit. And they're like, what flavor is it? It's pickle juice. How fucking likely are they to hit that? You know, like that. And I'm just saying, like, that's the way I see it. It's very off-putting not having the variety that you have now in the vape industry. And when it comes down to, oh, I want to order juice offline, and it's $70 for a 30 ml bottle of tobacco flavor, flavorless, or mint. No one is going to do that shit. No one. People are going to have stockpiles of flavored juice. It's eventually going to run out, and then they're either going to, 1, have to quit, or 2, they're going to have to go back to tobacco if they don't want to do the flavors that they have. So, yeah, by the way, 15 minutes in, the coffee I'm drinking today is Cafe Bustelo. Again, I just like it. I tried a new coffee yesterday. And I was actually going to use one of them in today's morning coffee. Sorry, I kicked my mic. It was an organic cold brew coffee, and it pissed me off more than anything. The worst coffee I have ever tasted in my life. So we got, I don't know how many varieties they have, but we ended up getting vanilla and mocha. So we got 2 different ones to try. And the vanilla tasted awful. I took 3 drinks out of it and I was done. There was no way I was drinking that. The mocha, I took a sip out of, and it tasted like fermented ass water. It was awful. It was a cold brew coffee. It was supposed to be organic. It said stuff on there like, cold brew. It had the listed benefits of cold brew. Now, if someone who hadn't had cold brew before and they was like, oh, cold brew coffee, I'll give this a try, they would be turned away from cold brew coffee because of that. It was awful. It was so awful. So instead of using that coffee today in this morning coffee, I ended up just going with Cafe Bustelo. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to show you an up close thing with this thingy, and then I'm going to talk more about it, but I'm not going to cut audio and then do a different thing. I'm just going to talk about it right here, and you will see, like a video demonstration of it. But you have your charging on the bottom. You have your pod system that slides out, slides back in. It's not magnetic or anything. It just clicks into place. Talk more about that here in a minute. Like I said, it is activated through inhaling. And yeah, so when refilling this pod for me, all I have to do is there's 2 sides to this. And I didn't know this whenever she first got it. But whenever I realized that I would be able to refill this so easily, I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot with 0. So the sides, all you have to do is you have to barely push up on each side. And then once that comes up, just take it off. You can see if your coil needs to be cleaned or rewicked, which is fairly easy with this. And then if you want to fill it, you just put your bottle of juice down in the side here and you just fill until whenever you're comfortable. You don't have to fill it up all the way. But yeah, so it's a pretty simple e-cig. So back to these pods, man, it's not like a straightforward thing. It could be one thing, it could be another thing. So like I said, she's had 6 of these to use. So you kind of get, it's not the same thing. It's definitely not the same thing. And I don't know if this is a trial thing or if it's the actual ones that will be the same thing. But the pods, it's not doing it now. It was rattling earlier. The pod would rattle. It was still in place, but it would rattle. The inhale on these is so different. I have 3 pods that I can use on this right now. And each one of them has a different draw. Some of them are open. I can get a mouth to lung, or I can get a kind of restrictive lung hit from them. And then you have other ones that I can barely get a mouth to lung because how tight it is. Now I'm speaking from before these were wicked, before they were re-wicked, because some of them I just opened up that juice, Aaron vaped it for a while, got everything to where it was like just inhaling air. That's whenever I would take over with it. But yeah, some of these have a different inhale. It could be my juice, could be the pods. I don't know. I can't really say. Because I'm not using this from a straight out of the box point, so I'm just not going to do that. If you use the juice that are in these, it has 2.4%. So it has 24 milligrams per pod. So yeah, it's so weird. I don't know what kind of trial this is, like I said, but it's definitely weird. It is very weird. I'm gonna hit this. I'll let you kind of see what cloud I get. I don't know why the point of doing that would be, because I'm not using the juice that came in this, but just for educational purposes, I guess. So it's not awful. I can get a decent mouth to lung. I did my mouth like that. And like I showed you first, you can get an okay lung hit from this, if you want to. This is a 350 milliamp battery, which really isn't bad. And since they're only $1, you could just buy 2. And then while you're using one, have the other one charging. And then once that starts going dead, you can put your pod in the other one. It has a LED indicator on the bottom. You can see that blue. But whenever it's good and strong, it'll be blue. Whenever it starts to weaken, it'll turn orange. And then whenever it's dead, it turns red. Whenever you plug it up on charge, it will be red. And then once it's fully charged, it will turn completely off. You will have no LED on at all whenever it's fully charged. It just completely stops pushing power to it. So it has overcharge protection. Overall, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Blu just because they are tobacco owned. But I'm keeping an open mind with this. And would I recommend this to someone that is trying to quit smoking and go to vaping? I would not. And I'm speaking for the trial version. I cannot speak for the actual version. I don't know how this would operate with the actual version. Speaking from the trial version, no. For your safety, for anyone else's safety, I do not recommend trying to use one of these for, trying to think. I would not use the stick itself for long periods. I would not try to make that like a daily driver type thing. Mine sits here on my desk, and then every now and then if I feel like I want to use it, or I just get bored, I'll come over here, pick it up, I'll hit it, put it back down. That's kind of it. But I do not trust the misfiring. The first thing I would do, leaving the gas station with yours, I would open it, put the pod in it, let it sit for like a second, maybe a minute, and I would put my finger over that charging port on the bottom. If it fires, take it back. See if the gas station will take it back. If not, send Blu an email. I will have their direct email down below, because I'm also going to be sending them my own email letting them know about this issue, because that is a very, very big safety issue. And yeah, so no, I would not recommend this. Aaron has used the Views Ciro. I think that's how that's pronounced. Ciro, I believe. I don't know. I'll find it and put a picture somewhere in here. She used it, and not only is it not that expensive, it's decent. Oh wow, no, why did that do that? Oh, I don't know what's going on. Oh man, my stuff is like echoing so loud, and I don't know what happened. This is why GarageBand is weird for me. Okay, I'm really sad. What happened was I was sitting here and I went to click on GarageBand, and for some reason whenever I did, it turned the reverb all the way up but was still showing it as off. There was no equalizer settings, there was no anything set, so it just started echoing so loud. Yeah, I don't know, but it's fixed. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I would highly recommend that. It's cheap. It's a nice, it's not a pod system, but it's a disposable cartridge, clearmizer. It's really affordable. It's really cheap. And the cartridges that you can get for that are also really cheap. So I highly recommend that over the Blu. I don't know who they're owned by. I don't know if they're a tobacco company. But from her experience with trying those a few times, yeah, I definitely recommend that. This Blu trial, like I said, if you get it and you have any kind of like misfiring, contact Blu and let them know. I don't know what they're going to do to try and resolve this, but I feel like there should be a recall issued, especially with, we got 6, 2 of them do it. My buddy got 1, his did it. So that's 3 out of 7. That's, yeah, I don't feel safe about that. But anyways, this video has been very long. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you'd like to give like any thoughts or concerns or feedback from your personal use or anything like that, comment down below. I will comment back, and possibly other people will get in on it. Maybe someone else is having issues. Maybe you got yours and it's working perfectly fine. I'm not making this video to shit on Blu in any way. This is like kind of just like an honest user guide, I guess. And I also do want to state that the misfires were taking place when the pods were how the pods were supposed to be. So it has nothing to do with me refilling mine or changing the wicks or anything like that. They were misfiring straight out of the box. So I just want to state that. Don't want anybody to be like, oh, you manipulated yours and you was doing mods to yours and this and that. No, these were the ones that came straight out of the box. That the actual pods, how they come, were being used. So yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your week, and have an awesome and safe weekend. If you want to, you can subscribe for more videos. If you want to suggest something for me to talk about in this series, you can comment that down below. But yeah, I appreciate you watching.